Let's move on to main topic number 3, shall we? And our third main topic today gets submitted to us by Steve Calderon, who writes, Warner Brothers pushed back Dune to October 1st of 2021. Yes, they did. It was supposed to come out this December. They've moved it almost a year to October 1st of 2021. While it's a smart move to delay the film, but is this new date the right time to release it? Denis Villeneuve's Blade Runner 2049 was also released on the first weekend of October in 2017, and it ended up being a box office disappointment. Do you think Dune will be any different? All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, man. And yes, you know, Rob, we were just talking about this yesterday on the show. We talked about the fact that, hey, Regal's announcing they're shutting down. It's still possible Dune keeps that release date, but now we're starting to think it won't. Sure enough, just shortly afterwards, they announced it has moved not by 3 months, not by 5 months. They've moved it all the way to October 31st of 2021. All the way to October 1st of 2021. Now, let's address this part of the question here first. Is moving it to October the problem? I mean, because as Steve points out in his email, when you look at Blade Runner 2049, clearly a film that was quite disappointing at the box office, it came out in October as well. Does that mean October is a bad time for a Denis Villeneuve film to be released? Well, that's assuming that October was the problem. The problem with Blade Runner and its box office failure had nothing to do with the month it came out. I'm going to just tell you that right now. The problem with Blade Runner 2049 was that they completely botched the marketing campaign. They never once told the audience what the movie was even about. They just said, hey, everybody, it's a Blade Runner movie, and then thought that just automatically meant everybody was going to rush out to the theaters. And as Rob has pointed out several times, that was a massive miscalculation on their part. And to me, the trailers were just interesting visually, but they did nothing to sell people to go see the movie or to tell the audience why they should feel like they should go see the movie. They never once gave the slightest idea what that movie was about. The problem wasn't the month of October. You could have released Blade Runner 2049 on Christmas Day. With that marketing campaign, it still would have been a massive disappointment. So I don't believe the month is going to be the problem. Now, anyway, this comes to us from the folks over Variety, who writes, news of Dune's delay comes days after James Bond's sequel, No Time to Die, which was originally set to launch at the end of November, was pushed back to 2021. That decision prompted Regal, the second biggest U.S. theater chain, to close down its venues after reopening in August. And Rob, there is nothing in here, in this story, to say that Dune moving has anything to do with Regal shutting their doors. As a matter of fact, the decision to move Dune was probably made a week ago. Probably, and we're just knowing about it now. But Regal shutting their doors, I'm sure just kind of cemented the decision. I mean, I'm sure they made them feel better about the decision at this point. I don't understand needing to move it 10 months. That I don't understand. The only thing I can think of, Rob, that would say why they should move it that far is that they feel very good about this movie and maybe they want to get it as close to Oscar season as they can. But that I don't know because I haven't seen the film. But anyway, Rob, obviously you're not terribly surprised they've moved Dune. What do you think about the move and what do you think about them moving it all the way to October?
Well, I mean, 2021 is packed to the rafters. And I think that I think it's a combination of a lot of things. Like you had said, just now, close to the Oscars, close to the holiday season, but they've given it enough room that it can live on its own, live and breathe on its own. I think they just want it moved away from other blockbusters. You know, the way they had it, Warner Brothers was going to put Wonder Woman and Dune out like within a week of each other at the end of this year. So I think it's better off. And as far as whether the movie's going to be successful, like Blade Runner 2049, like you pointed out, Blade Runner was not a successful movie, the original Blade Runner. It's a cult hit. And if you work in the entertainment business, the movie's very revered for its vision. But to the general population, Blade Runner is not, you know, people aren't like, oh boy, you know, that's a classic film. Whereas Dune is a literary adaptation. They've still been publishing, Kevin Anderson and Brian Herbert have been publishing Dune books, even after Herbert's 6 books for years. It's more of a known commodity. And I think the cast alone is going to drive a lot of moviegoers into the theater to see this. And I think they want to give it, look, it's one of my most anticipated movies in years, especially with the cast and the creative talent behind it. I think they want to give it the best possible way, the best possible place in order for it to succeed. Because remember, it's only the first half of Dune, the first book. So I want them to knock it out of the park with this. As I said, I read the screenplay. The screenplay was amazing, a fantastic adaptation, and like the cast. Oh my God, I can't wait. But I guess I'm gonna have to wait, unless maybe I'll die soon. I mean, I could be dead by the time this movie comes out, and I won't see the new James Bond movie. I won't see my beloved Justice for Han happen, and I don't know, man. 2021 could either be the greatest year or the last year of my life. Who knows?
In talking about the movie in its own isolated form, like the decision to take this film, move it off, was it going to work for it now in December, all things considered, they move it 10 months, all that kind of stuff. In the midst of all that, I think we would be remiss to not address kind of the larger symbolic thing here. Dune was really the last true, it was our shining hope for 2020. You know what I mean? Like for you and I both, we've both been saying for a while that it is our most anticipated movie of the year. And in the midst of, with everything else moving, I mean, I believe Wonder Woman is still scheduled for December 25th. I don't believe for a second. I'll keep my fingers crossed. I'm dying to see Patty Jenkins' new film. I am. But, we've really been looking to Dune. That Dune will be the thing. Man, if Dune can hold on, if Dune can keep that release date. And I think really for me, and I can only speak for myself, Dune has now kind of become the avatar, if you will, for my great disappointment in 2020. And, yes, it sucked that Black Widow moved. It sucked that, Bond moved. It sucked that Fast 9 moved. And that all sucked. But none of them, when they made their moves, were ever the last straw. Despite the fact that Wonder Woman 84 is still on Christmas Day 2020, I don't think any of us believe it's going to be able to keep that date, especially if Regal doesn't open back up again. To me, Dune kind of becomes the symbol of that was the last hope. That it just seems to me like 2020 at this point is like a complete wash. And I decided to actually make that the topic of today's question of the day. And just before we started the show up here today, I jumped on our community tab on the YouTube channel. Make sure you guys go and check that out. And I asked you guys simply this. I asked you guys, question of the day. Understanding that as of right now, there are still a couple of big films scheduled to open, and AMC says they're staying open, but with Regal closing, all the movies, do you think any major films, because there's still a couple of smaller films coming up, but do you think any major film will release in the rest of 2020? We talk about this some more in today's show. I've just put this up just before the show started. Almost 5,000 of you guys have already registered votes. And right now, hey, 33% of you guys are deciding to live with the optimism, man. 33% of you saying yes, at least one major film, which I guess would either be Soul or Wonder Woman at this point. At least one major film will still open in the calendar year of 2020, damn it. Meanwhile, 67% of you saying FU 2020. You do not believe any of the major films will still be able to open this year. Once again, guys, that's up in the community tab of the YouTube channel. Make sure you guys subscribe. Go check that out there. I will leave that poll up. Again, almost 5,000 you guys have voted. 33% of you say yes, one of the major films will still open. 67% of you guys are saying nope, turn out the lights. The party is over for 2020. Question is, guys, what do you think? Jump down into the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys.